Hey guys, and welcome back to Pop Beat Breakdowns. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down a Sam Smith Unholy type beat that I made today in Logic Pro X. This isn't normally the sort of genre that I like to produce. It's more on the pop R&B and soul side of the pop market. But hey, I like to challenge myself and try and make beats and go out of my comfort zone because it's a really good way to refine my craft as a producer and also yours as well. Sometimes trying to step into the unknown and try new things. If you are new to this channel, smash the subscribe button right now as it is the best way to support the channel. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into Logic Pro X and let's break down this beat that I've made. Okay, so we are now in Logic and this is the production that I've made for the video today. Relatively simple production. I said this in a short version of this video that I made. Like, the production is very simple. There's not actually a lot to it because most of the production is crowded out with the vocals and the choir, very gospel-y vocals that Sam Smith implements into the song. So this is a relatively simple beat that we made today, but I tried to, convey across the similar ideas that they've done in this Sam Smith one. As the same for every single one of my videos on this channel, the order that I put everything in here is the order that I have produced it, so you can get the best idea of how I've built this track up from the ground up. And today we're starting with the drums. Now, I believe everything other than the choir vocal here at the bottom, which I'm going to discuss later, is Logic. So everything here is Logic, so you can make this as well for yourself if you fancy, replicating this beat. So we're going to start with the drums, and I went in straight with into Electric Drum Kit, and I just selected an empty kit so I could start personalizing my own drum kit. And it's a really good way to build your own sound and, have your own sort of like template as a producer. So I started off with a kick and a snare, or kick and a clap, sorry, which I just had on the main channel. And we'll see what that sounds like. I love this clap. It's called Tension. It was just in the preset. If you click on here, you can see you can find it here. Clap, tension in the claps part. And it had this really nice sort of like tail off afterwards, which added a little more movement to the percussion. And the next thing I did as well was I added some cowbells in and some reverse effects, just so it was very similar to the Sam Smith one. Notice how the cowbells are actually pitched to the key of the song, because I just thought that would be a really cool thing to do, and it's very much done in the Sam Smith production as well, which is why I did that. And other than that, we just added some hi-hats in, some more claps, and I'll leave this out because I'll play this separately in a second, but this basically is the main bulk of the percussion. Very simple. Just a little bit of movement in the hi-hats. You can see in the MIDI I've actually pitched it up and down a bit just to create a little bit more movement in the hi-hats. Then I've just got a sample delay used to spread the hi-hats out to the side of the mix with a slight bias to the left-hand side. So if you're listening to these through headphones in stereo right now, you will hear that the hi-hats kind of sound like they're at the sides of the mix, but more predominantly on the left. That is because when you use a sample delay, if you put a delay onto one side, it's the last thing your ears are going to perceive, meaning that your ears might think that it's coming out that side. So that's where the bias comes from, with sample delay. And the overall drums, because it's in a track stack, just a channel EQ and just add a little bit of brightness to the high end to help them collapse and the hi-hat snap, and also to bring a little bit of the air through the kick. I like to always bring some high end of the kick through, even if it's really low like that, because I feel like sometimes it can help it stick out in the mix a lot more, especially on different listening devices. Then I found this really cool bass thing. I was just experimenting. I went through the effects part. As you can see here, the pitched library, which is in this section, and I was just scroll down to see what we could find. And I came across this bass sound. And this is what started the more pitch side of the production. I just thought it sounded really cool. It's called Bass, Bass 2 Deep. Yeah, Bass 2 Deep Mystery. And I find it's really cool. So it's worth adding lane to a bass line. So when you put all the drums together with this, you've got, the building blocks of a song. There we go. And in the Sam Smith production, the chords are very close together. So this is going from D major to a C sharp major, I believe. So it's just going down one semitone, and that's how it creates this sort of dum, dum. Notes very close together, so I wanted to keep that similar when I went on to the next section, which was the bass. Now the bass today, I'll quickly play this for you because I've really stacked this up. So I'm going to call this the retro synth bass because every single sound from here is used using retro synth. You can see right here I've got a bust so I can stack it all together, but this is probably one of the best production techniques for really getting your sound as a producer, is stacking instruments to create your own original sound. Because in Logic we have a lot of presets, and I love using presets in Logic because you've got the classic analog bass preset, then we're also using the 80s synth bass preset, we've got the hollowed bass preset and the plucked FM bass, all retro synth. So again, if you recognize, this is the retro synth in Logic. This is the Logic software instrument, probably my favorite Logic software instrument, if I'm actually being honest, just because the music I normally produce. And I've just used 4 different bass sounds from here in the synth bass. But even though these are presets, because I've stacked these 4 together, I've created my own sound, which is original. So if we just play them all individually, you will hear, if we cycle through them, what everyone's adding. So the classic analog bass to start. This is adding a little bit more mid punch. Then the hollow bass, adding more low end. And then the plucked FM, which I just thought added a nice little all-round sound. So all of them together, track stacked, we suddenly created our own unique sound. So that's what you've got to do. If you're limited to just having stock plugins in Logic, start trying to build or stack instruments, as I like to call it, to create an original sound. So right here we've got the bass and the drums sort of bouncing off each other, and we've already got the building blocks of our song. So yeah, now the next thing I wanted to add is I wanted to start adding a little bit more textural qualities, a bit of something that's not just, drum and bass, because at the moment it's just drums and bass. So I added firstly the analog spheres, which is just a preset in the pads in your preset library. Kind of got this synthetic brass feel to it, because I kind of wanted this track to feel dark, so I thought I need something gritty, something dirty to add to sort of like the rebellious feel and nature of this song. That's why I did this in. And I also found some more brass because I continued the idea for Future Feels Brass, which is in the brass section of synth. And these two together create our sort of like more brighter textures, but still with that dark and dirty feel. So when you put it with the bass, all of a sudden we got this really like sort of epic rebellious sounding track. Put it all together with this. Cool. So then the next thing to do, this is actually a really cool thing that we did, because this is almost, I think it's almost the exact sound that was actually used. If you listen to the Sam Smith Unholy production, you will hear that there is an ascending riser, or transition I like to call it, from the pre-choruses, and it actually sounds like this. And that is literally just one of the I'll show you exactly which one it is. So if we go on our Future synth bass, so this is our section across to here. If you go onto the arrangement FX in the top corner, click on that in synth, it's the bike riser. I realise I haven't covered my whole screen today, but you can see it here, the bike riser in the arrangement FX of synths. All I've done is I've bounced it out to audio and cut it, and we've got the sound, and it's pretty identical to the transition. So if we listen to what that transition sounds like, it adds that transition between the pre-chorus and the chorus. Yeah. Now, the only thing we're missing now is some choirs, because I did listen very carefully to the Sam Smith production, and there is some underlying choirs very subtly, but because I'm only making an instrumental today, I wanted to make this sound a little bit more fuller for the purposes of setting up my beat store. So what I've done is created a choir section using Omnisphere. As I said, this is the only thing, unfortunately, which isn't in Logic, but there is choir sounds in Logic you can use as well. I've just used Omnisphere's choir, and I've just layered 3 different choirs. I'll play them all separately for you so you can hear my layers, because I apply the same rule of thumb for stacking choirs as I do for stacking string sections. It's all about getting the root note down, getting some melodic value, and getting some more higher arrangement quality to it to help with the development. So first we have the chords. Now you might hear a throb. Now this is another really cool production technique which I want to show you. So this is side chaining. So we've got the compressor here. This is on the main bus for the choir. And the throbbing has come from because I have sidechained this to instrument 5. Now, instrument 5 on here is actually the kick drum. So basically, every time the kick drum is played, it triggers the compressor in, which wants to start compressing the audio. And I know, like, describing a compressor as compressing can be confusing, but another word I like to use is squashing the audio. So you set your level, your ratio, your threshold of where you want the ceiling to be, and like how what the range is. So when the compressor activates, the audio gets squashed down, which creates that throbbing effect. And I have the attack on very, very slow for a compressor because you don't want it to be too harsh, because some in-house tropical house music, I like to make a lot of house music at the moment, you do want the attack like a lot more higher because you can create that sort of like really bouncy throbbing chorus, and it helps the kick stand out in the mix more. But I just thought I'd do it with the choir because I thought it'd make it sound interesting, a little bit more rhythmic quality to it. So I then laid this choir as well, which has the same effect. Playing around with the first and the fifth notes, first and third chords in that one. So the D chord, I'm playing around with the D and the F sharp, and then when it drops down to the C sharp major, we've got the C sharp and the E one, which is doing the harmonizing. So next, I added then this one, which is the high one. Put it all together. And again, like, I wanted to fit in with the theme of making it sound dirty. So what I've done is I've EQ'd a lot of the high end out and boosted a lot of the mid-high frequencies. Normally the sort of frequencies that can cause a few problems in the mix, but instead I thought, hey, I'm going to have them sticking out. And it created this really nice sort of eerie feel to the production. But that is basically the whole production that I've done here. So what I'm going to do now is the usual. I'm going to play it from the pre-chorus to partway through the chorus, and you can have a listen to this now for yourself. So yeah guys, that was my breakdown of Unholy Sam Smith type beat that I made today. If you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button, as it's the best way to support the channel. But I'm going to leave the video there for today, guys. So thank you if you've made it this far. Keep making music, and I will see you in the next video.